Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Stadium Drive, the podcast, a 10 episode series where we're going through every song that we put on our first project. And we're kind of talking a little bit about some of the gear that we used, some of the maybe fun stories about making the song or performing the song. And of course, we'll talk a little bit about just kind of the lyrics and all the fun stuff. So today, we're finally, if you're coming in at episode 6, then that's on you.
You're a true fan.
Yeah, we can't. Yeah, we're not gonna go through all of the things. You probably know the deal by now. We're now starting side B. If you're a vinyl fan, this is B side. We're getting into some of the kind of
deep cuts.
Yeah, deep cuts, absolutely. And track 6 is "Swear to Me." This one's kind of interesting. We'll get into it a little bit, but this is another song that you brought the chord progression to the duo. And we weren't quite sure what to do with it. I ended up bringing back like a melody and some lyrics, I guess.
Yeah, right.
And I don't know, in the beginning we weren't quite sure if this song was one that we were big fans of, I guess.
It definitely was one of the very first ones we actually tried to write together. And yeah, I know, especially once we started tracking it, we felt pretty aimless about it. It's just like, this is a little. It just felt like kind of in between all of the things we were going for, yet not being what we were going for, if that makes sense.
Well, and it just, it didn't help that. So it starts, if you haven't listened to it, you should go back and listen to it. Or if you haven't listened to it in a while, go refresh. It starts with this big 3-part harmony, like vocal intro. And so the first time that we tracked that, I don't know if it was like the levels or like maybe just the takes that we used or whatever it was, it just wasn't locking in for each of us.
My memory was you recorded a scratch lead vocal and it was a hair flat. And before redoing the lead vocal, you went and did all the harmonies. And so then it wound up being that a lot of the harmonies were not quite in tune when you went and re-recorded the lead vocal and nailed that. Because they had harmonized to a take that, had been flat. And so it became this kind of like, it just became this very laborious song for us. That all said, and as kind of a big of a nightmare as that was, I think it's come out to be one of my favorites on the record, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, logistically, I think it was definitely a big leap just because, like, it's also just kind of a little bit... like self-serving to go in and just record like 3 vocal parts of like very like prominent vocal parts of just me. And so like I think I hated it for that reason too, because it's like it's just way too much me. And it's like very like exposed and very just like forward. And so yeah, I didn't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole like for a long time, and I think we just put it on the back burner.
It definitely did get put on the back burner.
We ended up scratching every vocal part, and we started with the low harmonies and built it up that way. That way, the melody is actually the highest vocal take or highest,
or usually was like close to the highest.
And so playing off of the harmonies versus doing it the other way around.
That cleaned everything up.
I think we ended up locking it in, and then you did some really fun things like instrumentally.
We really dialed in. We got this this great little mutant guitar. It had a different neck on it at the time, actually, believe it or not.
Lincoln, can you see this in the shot?
Hold on for a second. This bad boy.
You can't be bothered to take your other hand out of your pocket.
No. It's serving a very specific purpose, Jeff. No. I'm just kidding.
Cut that.
No, but this thing is a beast. I got it from a friend for next to nothing as kind of a package deal. Love this guitar, and this song is like a very like I almost want to say like Lumineers-y, like country, like alt country thing. And I knew a Telecaster would do the trick, and I think the idea was to just kind of copy the melody and throw it through some delay and stuff, and it sounded great. Really was happy with the way that came out.
Yeah, there was this part, and again, I think what also kind of made the song laborious in like kind of bringing it back to life was because you're right. It was kind of it was bridging this genre thing where we
Mhm.
weren't quite sure what it was trying to be.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
because
and I referenced the Lumineers. I am not a big Lumineers fan, and I don't think we even are that much like the Lumineers or even trying to sound like them that much. But it just kind of is like
the cats are
it
warring
just
over
felt
you.
like a
Sorry,
direction. Yeah, my cats are
the
fighting.
cats are hissing at
They
each
do
other right
this.
now.
It's fine. This is how they contribute. Yeah.
But no, so I I think that's maybe we're like unlocking this now,
Hmm.
like literally in the moment. Like,
Right.
yeah, it was a combination of like the tracks hadn't set in quite right in the beginning. The song itself, like the was sort of
Was
directionless.
out of our comfort zone at the very least, I think
Yeah,
is what you could say.
I don't know. Did we ever? Was there ever a part or a point where we were thinking about scrapping it? We were never thinking
I
about
don't think we
scrapping
ever
it.
wanted to cut it completely, but I do know we were both kind of like, I don't know, and it's like, well, let's just keep pushing through and see what happens. And
So yeah,
sure
what
enough, we
happened?
came around on it.
Well, I was just about to say, so what happened between that point to now that we were like, oh, this is actually kind of like, was it something you did like production wise?
See, that's what's funny is it's just like kind of the performances just came together. I think the mix just came together. Again, like this song is very relative. It's on the simpler side as far as some of the arrangements we have, where it's you've got the acoustics, bass, drums, and in this case we have a electric guitar, and I think that's it pretty much. Maybe two electric guitars. I'll have to go back and look. See here.
I loved what you did. You know, this
Yeah,
yellow
two electric
guitar.
guitars. Yeah. So it's nice and simple and clean, but because everything is there and serving a purpose, it comes across as very tight. And where maybe it was like boring to us while we or kind of like annoying to us as we were making it, when I go back and listen to it now, it feels like one of the tighter songs on the whole record.
I would agree. And for it to start the B side,
Hmm.
so you
Starting with the cold vocal open, I think wound up being like almost lucky because you can't plan for some of these things when you go and make a track list. Like if the tracks don't flow together, they don't flow together, and you almost have no choice of where the vinyl is going to land, A and B side, depending on how long certain songs are, or short certain songs are.
hmm
So yeah,
yeah,
it's
it
awesome. It works out cool.
it became something that maybe uh intentionally or unintentionally we
Hmm.
wanted to almost hide, but then it ended up getting
Hmm.
like a very premier spot, which
Hmm.
was like
Hmm.
to kick off the backside of the
Hmm.
record. Um,
But it works again. It just
yeah,
serendipitously kind of works perfectly for that job.
and with the aimlessness or maybe like the genre bending,
Hmm.
it I think what it does is kind of set up the B side too, because
Hmm.
we'll obviously continue the series. You'll get to hear a little bit more about some of the songs before it. But if you go back and listen to the episodes prior to this,
Hmm.
we talk a lot about things were staying in that folk Americana
Hmm.
lane. We start gearing a little bit towards the classic rock lane,
Hmm.
and then this B side is really where we just break the doors off, and
Hmm.
really there's just no
You start melding
like
it all together.
there's no formula. It's
Yeah.
like let's just kind of do things that feel good and
Mhm.
and lock in and
Mhm.
um yeah. Honestly, like lyrically, thinking of just like how we kind of built this,
Mhm.
this is probably the most straightforward out of all the songs. Just listening to it, it's very much so just kind of a um just one of those songs where you're just it's very it's I
Do you
think it's a
think
little bit more black and
do you
white.
think that's maybe representative of the fact that it was one of the first songs you like wrote? Like one of the first songs you wrote specifically for this project?
That's a good. I bet this was the first one that I had finished
Yeah,
out of
at least
all of them.
specifically because a handful of songs you'd already written or
Yeah,
had mostly written.
that's a
But
good
yeah, this
point.
has to be one of the first ones like, oh, this is
Mhm.
definitely for this new project. So
Not to mention this one. This is about a very specific situation.
yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
there are these like, I'll be your headlights, so
Hmm.
when your eyes fail to see, I'll be
Hmm.
like, I'll make sure your belt's tight, just like it's supposed. It's very much so about a
Hmm.
moment where, um, like you're in the parking lot of an establishment
Hmm.
and someone's like threatening to leave and you're like,
Hmm.
don't.
Yeah,
leap.
don't do that. Yeah.
Or if you do
Like you're trying to be the
like
guiding light
yeah,
for
like swear to be
someone in a tough place.
yeah, or like bare minimum, like swear that you're gonna like be
Hmm.
safe.
Responsible. Yeah.
And I think that comes across. Like I said, the
Hmm.
lyrics I think are very much so
Yeah.
like pretty straightforward on this
Hmm.
one. But
Definitely.
um, yeah, otherwise, like to me, I just think it's kind of funny that we came around on this together. Like it was uh, out of all of them, I think you and I have maybe differed on some things, maybe
Hmm.
not on other things, but this one we were like almost exactly on the same page, and
Yeah.
which was kind of funny.
Yeah, it's just funny to both have the experience, like, because I think it's rare that that happens where you both write the song and initially you're like, this could be cool, and then it hits a point like a rut where you're like, screw this song, like this is just really not working for us, and then both of not like not one just one of us, but both of us way later to come back around and be like, actually that song's pretty darn cool. Happy with that.
To that, like the transition of it now being performed live. You know, we
Hmm.
don't play it much, but
When we do, it's fun.
well, I was just about to ask, like I felt to me it was the
Hmm.
toughest
Hmm.
to transfer over because there is kind of this huge
It's so contingent on this big harmony sound, but I think people know when, it's like we're not going to show up with one of those vocal boxes and, be doing Bohemian Rhapsody by ourselves on an acoustic guitars, like
actually
that's not us. Maybe
maybe
we
we
should.
need
Yeah.
to uh
Maybe we should start thinking about that actually.
but yeah, no, that's all good. Speaking of vocal, I mean, we did bust out. We got a little bit more time on this
Mhm.
episode. Do we want to like kind of show off
Quickly show the
or
vocal mics.
maybe talk about the difference between the two primary mics you have?
Yeah, I mean, this first one I stole from a friend. I say stole literally because I
Sorry,
did steal it. Sorry, Gavin.
sorry about it.
I I don't think he wants it anymore. Um,
I don't want to speak for him,
yeah,
but
but great microphone, Bluebird. Typically used for a lot of R&B pop vocalists. Very affordable mic. That I think gets the job done. If you wanted my quick, assessment of it, it's got a really nice high-end response, especially for vocalists that like 5 to 10K range, where there's a lot of that presence and just clarity in a vocal. It gets that really, really well. And in complete contrast, well, not complete contrast, but in nice contrast to that is this Rode, very NT1, very cheap microphone, 100 something dollars. Um, to me, this is my workhorse. I like this for like vocalists with a little bit darker, maybe gruffer vocals. I've used it. I use this for myself. I used it for Jeremy Ober, if you guys know him, the singer of Brutal Republic. If shameless plug, go listen to some of that. It's been done in house here. Um, this vocal, I think this was the only mic I used on Lost on You for his vocal. I'm pretty
cool.
sure that's a Rode feature.
I think
But
that might be my favorite track on the whole
it's a
EP.
great little track. But we've been using the two of these mics in conjunction with each other because I think the Rode has this warmness, this really nice 500 to 2K range that picks up a lot of the mid kind of punchiness of a vocal. And then the Bluebird has that really nice high-end response that gives you a lot of clarity and just pristineness.
Yeah,
Um,
you work with a lot of vocalists here. Like you mentioned Jeremy,
yeah.
you've recorded like vocals for Tank Anthony,
Yep.
which is also going to be kind of on that
Hmm.
like raspier side.
Definitely.
And then guys like Jared who have like some of the crispest, like
Yeah,
cleanest
the
voices. Like
Stapleton-esque, yeah, powerhouse vocals. Yeah, I've had all kinds of different vocalists, and honestly, no one has complained about this. I'm not claiming to compete with, your major studio $10,000 mic, but everyone that comes through here seems to be pretty happy with the setup, and I'm happy with it. So for now, that's what I'm rolling with. So,
cool.
hmm
Awesome.
any music things we need to look at here quick?
Honestly, we've talked a little bit about this one also had minimal drums.
Mhm.
Obviously you had the bass on this.
Yeah.
I know we're going to talk about the pedal setup a little bit later,
Yeah,
so
so maybe we just hold off. I don't know that. Go listen to the song, folks.
mhm.
Yeah, nothing too fancy here. I think if this is maybe our best example of kind of like maybe the tightest example of like our full range of sound. You're getting a little
Yeah,
bit of cool guitar sound, like electric guitar sound, and you're getting our acoustic sound, and you're getting the bass and drums
a
and
true
harmonies.
collab.
Harmonies
Yeah,
up the wazoo. So
up the wazoo.
yeah. Yeah.
And a true collab. Going back to
Yeah,
like you had
totally.
the music, I had the
Hmm.
lyrics, which I think some of my favorite songs on this project have been that
Yeah,
setup.
it's
So
fun how we've been able to do so many different variations of that.
mhm,
Where I have some songs that are more written by me, and you have some songs that are more written by you, and then ones that are totally 50-50 or close
yeah,
to 50-50. It's awesome.
yeah,
Let's just play to our
cool,
strengths, I think.
sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you all for joining us on this. Again, that was episode 6, track 6, the
Nice.
start of
We're
the B
flying.
side here. Yeah, we got a few more episodes to go through with y'all. If you're interested, go and check out the episodes before on this page. As always, you can pick up a vinyl or a CD. We've got some copies here, and yeah, we appreciate y'all dropping in.